All right, today we're going to dive into a piece of tech that is seriously shaking up the world of 3D modeling, Backflip AI. Think of this as your definitive guide for 2026. We're going to break down how this thing actually works, and more importantly, what it means for the future of making, well, just about anything.
It all kicks off with this incredibly powerful statement: we've officially entered the era of disposable engineering. I mean, that sounds pretty wild, right? Disposable? But it perfectly captures this massive shift we're about to see. So what does it actually mean?
Well, here it is. It means that if you can see an object, a broken part on your dishwasher, a custom tool, anything, you can now own its digital DNA. The old way of doing things, spending hours and hours meticulously drawing in CAD software, that's fading. Now it's all about scanning the world around you and just prompting an AI.
Okay, so let's actually jump in and see what this new era looks like in practice. First up, the dashboard. Right off the bat, you'll see this super clean, kind of industrial-style interface. It's pretty straightforward. You've got your home screen, which is your basic overview. Then there's the part creator. That's the main engine room where all the magic happens. Your gallery is your own private stash of all the models you've made. There's even a surprisingly powerful 3D editor. Think of it like a mini Unreal Engine for fixing little AI mistakes. And finally, settings, which is where you manage your credits, which, let's be honest, are basically the new currency in 2026.
All right, so how do you actually use this AI design engine? Well, it all comes down to how you talk to it, how you prompt it.
And this right here is probably the most important thing you need to get. This AI thinks like an engineer, not an artist. So if you just type in chair, you're going to get some kind of useless, blobby mess. But if you get specific, if you say mid-century modern armchair with 4 tapered wooden legs, now the AI understands the physics, the structure. It gives you something you could actually build.
And here's a pro tip straight from the guide. You have to describe the material. And why is that so important? Well, get this. If you tell the AI you want a carbon fiber bracket, it will actually change the model's physical properties, like the thickness of the walls, to make sure the final part is actually strong enough not to just snap in half. That is just incredible.
Now, text prompts are awesome for coming up with new ideas, but if you want to replicate something that already exists, using a photo is the absolute gold standard for accuracy. But there's a super weird secret about how this works that you have to know.
Okay, this is one of those gotchas you really need to look out for. The AI is so literal, it has such a high information gain that if you upload a stock photo with a watermark, it'll think the watermark is part of the object and actually try to build it in 3D. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that.
So, you want to get the absolute best scans from a photo? Here's the playbook. 3 simple steps. First, high contrast is your friend. Put the object against a plain white or black background. Second, angles matter. A lot. You got to show a few different sides. Because remember, the AI has to guess what the back of it looks like. And third, use that Vary button in your gallery to tweak and remix a design without having to start from scratch. Next up, we're getting to the feature that the guide calls an industrial savior. And honestly, this is what makes Backflip AI a total beast, especially for pros.
And the difference here is, well, it's night and day. It's not even a fair comparison. Traditional 3D scanners, they give you a point cloud, which is just millions of tiny dots floating in space. You can't really do anything with that for serious engineering. But Backflip, it gives you a parametric step file. And for any engineer watching, you know that is the holy grail.
And here's why that matters. This is the whole ball game. Because it gives you a file with a history tree, you can pop it open in professional software like SolidWorks and just edit it. You can change the diameter of a hole or the length of a bolt after the AI has already built the model. I mean, that is a complete game changer.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? No tech is perfect. So now let's talk about the warnings, the pitfalls you need to avoid.
So check this out. In a big user audit, they found that 12.4% of the time, the AI created something they call floating geometry. These are basically little stray pieces of digital stuff that are just floating there, not connected to anything. It usually happens when the AI has to take a wild guess about a part of the object it can't see.
And here's a heads up about your credits. Remember that handy Vary button we talked about? Yeah, be careful with that thing. It can be a total credit trap. Every time you click it, it costs 15 credits. You could easily end up spending more trying to fix a bad model than it would cost to just start over with a better prompt and generate a clean one for 40.
Now, this chart from their audit logs. Wow. It tells you everything you need to know about what this tool is good at and what it's terrible at. For a mechanical bracket, bam, 98% accuracy. Amazing. For something with a complex texture, like a piece of carpet, still really good, 82%. But for a human face, oof, a catastrophic 12%, basically a total failure.
Yeah, the guide doesn't mince words on this one. It says, if you try to 3D model a human face, you will get nightmare geometry. So let's be super clear. This tool is built for engineering. It's for parts, tools, and mechanical objects. It is absolutely not a character creator.
So all of this, it leads us to the big billion-dollar question that's on everyone's mind in 2026. Is this the end for human engineers?
So let's just ask it straight up. Can this AI really, truly replace a skilled mechanical engineer? And the short answer? No, not yet anyway. And this is why. Backflip AI is a master of shape. It understands geometry better than anything we've ever seen. But a human engineer, they understand stress analysis and tolerance, the real-world physics that stop a part from breaking under load. Think of it this way. The AI is a brilliant draftsman, but it's not an engineer.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? This is a huge one. For static parts, things like brackets and enclosures that don't have complex moving systems, the AI is already 90% as good as a human, and it's 10,000% faster. Let that sink in for a second. 10,000%. That's just a mind-boggling leap in productivity. Okay, before we finish up, I want to give you a little pro tip to save you a ton of frustration and credits. Most people get those 250 free credits and burn through them in like 5 minutes. Don't do that. Spend your first day just making 2D previews. Tweak your prompt until the image looks perfect. Only then do you hit the expensive Make 3D button. And if there are small flaws, use the free editor to fix them instead of wasting credits on the Vary button. If you do this, you can easily stretch those credits to make 10 models instead of like 2 or 3. And that's really what this all boils down to. We're now in an age where if you can describe it, you can pretty much print it and hold it in your hand. That wall between an idea in your head and a physical object in the world, it's dissolving right before our eyes. So the question isn't, can we make it anymore? The question is, what will you create that didn't even exist 60 seconds ago?